Welcome back to the Robbins Business Show. This is going to be fun, so come on in and have fun.
If it ain't fun, I ain't going, remember?
Set the channel changer aside this time and stick with the show. This is Robbins Business Show, which is all about entrepreneurship and small business, everything you ever needed to know. And it's also fun, easy to watch, highly informative.
Oh, tremendously.
Unbiased. Unbelievably interesting.
Yeah, unbiased.
And I'm the co-host, Bill Fox. The other co-host, though, is a man that you have to watch out for because they say, if you're going to pass him in the street, you better watch out because they say he is torrid.
Torrid?
He's torrid. I don't know, you really...
Bullfighter? Oh, Toro. Oh.
He's provocative and always highly entertaining. He's Coach Robbins.
Well, that one I understand. I've had people call me an edutainer. I educate while I entertain. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Folks, this is episode 2 of 2 episodes about how to set and get the right price.
Yep.
So it's pricing. It's both a product, a physical product, or a service.
Or a combination.
Or a combination.
You take a restaurant, for instance. A restaurant, you go in for good food.
Right.
But you also want a nice atmosphere, and you also want friendly maitre d', friendly waitress or waiter, right?
Right.
You expect to be waited on in a timely fashion. You want good food. You want both. It's a hybrid, really.
But they also might do catering. That's a service.
Oh, sure. Right. There's all kinds of other products, but you want food and service, both. So
setting price, whether it's you're a product, service, or a combination.
Right.
Product and service.
Yep.
Okay. And in the episode number 1, we talked about the top feature of your product, the sales tool that's the best closing device, the feature that differentiates you from your competitors, and the feature that is the quickest to change. That's price.
Price.
You guessed it, price.
Price. I can change price tomorrow morning.
You said surprising how small business can be sloppy about pricing, about spending very little time on a pricing plan.
Small businesses can be sloppy about everything, quite frankly. That's where I come in.
And we talked about an example of a couple of cereals, buying a breakfast cereal, cereal number 1, well-known, cereal number 2, well, you don't want to call it, it's a store brand.
Store brand,
with lower price.
Sure.
And which one are you going to choose? We talked about that.
Yep.
We talked about looking at the value factors of your product, like raw material, performance, packaging, on-time delivery, things of that sort. Also, your service factors. Value factors for service type business, experience, bottom line, impact, appearance. Right. Appearances, turnaround time, meeting deadlines as part of a service. Yep. And so we explored price methods. Method number 1 was the determine cost, determine profitability.
All the costs.
And arrive at a price.
Right.
Calculate. That's a calculation.
Right.
And by the way, that always reminds me, is you're gonna base your pricing on cost, which is a very wise idea, especially when you calculate
one of the things.
Sum up total cost.
You should.
And you know what your break even. You're very big on that.
You should know what your break even is, just so you know what your sales have to be.
But
so you're not
Coach,
losing money.
You've got to know what your cost is.
Right. All of your costs.
And boy, I don't know if that sounds silly or stupid, but that takes work.
Yeah. It takes a lot of effort.
It takes a lot of effort.
And it takes monitoring. Because those things are dynamic and they change.
I'm saying to you, right now, you're a small business owner, and I say, well, you're selling these, ballpoint pens. What's your cost?
Right.
And you go blah 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 blah.
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It depends on how many I buy.
It's about a buck. Well, is it a buck or isn't it a buck?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So that takes.
So if I buy 100, they charge me $1 a piece. But if I give them an order for 1,000, I can get them for 90 cents.
Right.
So my cost of goods for all of that batch is 90 cents.
And talk about cost, of course, salaries, the cost of personnel.
Well, that's fixed.
Rent, cost of sales,
Fixed.
cost of selling.
Right.
Whether that's a director through channels like distributors or otherwise, or on the internet.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Insurance, phone, utilities.
Right.
But you got to get all of that cost.
Covered.
That takes time. It takes concentration.
Yeah.
It takes work, but you got to do it.
Yep.
So when I say what's your cost, you better know.
Yeah, you better know. I want to walk into your store if you're working with me, and I'll say, what were your sales last month? Oh. Well, we sold, 116,000, right?
Right?
Okay, what was your cost of goods for that? 38,000. Oh, great. What was the overhead? 72,000. Great, you made money then, right? I don't know, you're in trouble.
We talked about a company selling T-shirts that they know the cost of producing the T-shirts. They know all of their
material, time,
labor,
right. Wear and tear on machinery.
Or if they shop it out to a subcontractor, what they're being.
Well,
charged.
It makes it easier.
Don't forget transportation.
Right.
And
all of the costs.
All of the costs.
Right.
And get all that.
If you're making them yourself, one of the things I see people miss is cost of repairs, cost of maintenance, cost of replacement.
Yeah. Right.
The IRS even, if you own a piece of machinery, they even let you write it off over a 5 or 10 year period, whatever their legend says. So they're aware of the fact that you're going to have to replace that machine at some time. So every single piece, and if it'll make 1 million T-shirts, right, then it may be a penny a shirt has got to go to replace that equipment or repair that equipment or maintain the equipment. There's a lot of hidden costs that people aren't picking up.
Knowing your cost is you have to watch, keep an eye on like inflation if that's a factor.
Oh, costs go up.
If there are shortages and you have to overpay,
to get some stuff.
To get items and stuff.
I'm thinking when they first made smoke detectors 30 years ago, mandatory in every home, I'd order 10,000 smoke detectors at one point. Yeah. They'd come in and I would blow out of those things so fast, and I don't really remember, maybe they cost me $10 a piece, right? But now I'm searching around to buy some more because I've got demand for more, but now I've got to pay maybe $12 a piece to get them, and I can only get 600 or 800. I'm not going to charge the same price. I'm going to charge more because these things cost me more.
The thing is, guys, if the type of business that you're in and you're basing your pricing on cost, you better know your cost.
You got to know your cost.
I always used to complain and say, how come I'm not in the perfume business where it cost me $10 to have some liquid in a bottle, but sell it for $100.
Oh no, that's $10 for a barrel. Then you sell it because it had that brand name on it, Chanel, Coco Chanel, right? And that's what people were willing to pay. It cost them $10, for the barrel.
Now, method number 2 was pricing competitively.
Yep.
And I talked to you about looking at competitor. Like you're selling T-shirts, look at 5 other T-shirt shops.
Right.
But also take into account quality.
Yeah.
The quality with price, the variety of choice, and a service factor.
Yeah, because I have a lot of T-shirt companies I've worked with over the years, and like I say, some of them are paying $2 for a shirt, and then doing a simple silk screen on it and selling them for $5, $6, $8, whatever. That's a very inexpensive, I hate to use the word cheap, shirt. And then I've got some who are paying $20 for the shirt, for the plain shirt, and then embroidering them and selling those for $49. So quality is also a issue, not just price.
Also, a factor we did not mention in episode number 1, which is if you're selling business to business. We were talking about selling T-shirts at retail.
That's B2C.
The retail customer.
Yeah.
B2C, business to customer. Now B2B, business. One business selling to another business. Your research. You have to look for sources of competitive pricing. Some suggestions that you had.
Yep.
Is like pricing sheets from competitors.
Yep.
trade associations and the publications.
Trade
that they
associations
put out.
are, wonderful. It's wonderful to be part of a national, for instance, trade association. I was a member for many years of the National Association of Electrical Distributors, and the data I was able to obtain from them was worth the price of membership alone.
Yeah.
That plus they had their annual meeting in Bermuda.
that helped.
I enjoyed doing that too.
But there's also if you hire someone who would work for a competitor.
Yep.
That person may have some pricing information. That
They always had some pricing information. Yeah.
And the internet, but today the internet, of course, the magic
It's
of the
huge.
internet is such a huge information tool.
Absolutely. It's the information highway. That's why they call it that.
There's also government reports on industry.
Yep.
Including pricing and other
Sure.
factors and
It's
so forth.
all the information, the data, and the information you can glean from that data that's online is incredible.
So we're going to move on. Method number 3
Yep.
is pricing by what you call pricing by position, Coach.
Yep.
Is pricing by position. You got to explain this to us. You said your key is to ask yourself, you're a business person, ask yourself, how do you want to be perceived by the marketplace?
Right.
Price, you say, price equals position.
Right.
Position in the market.
Position in the marketplace.
What are you talking about here?
Well, let's talk just position. Let's get away from price. Let's just talk position in the marketplace. When we say segment, target, position your company, and I do that pizza thing that I've done before, and I draw the circle on the board, and I tell my students that's a pizza, and then I take and I segment that market, some like pepperoni, some like chicken, some like whatever. Then I will say to them, because it's my example, I have a competitive advantage in buffalo chicken pizza. And even though it's not the biggest piece of the market, I'm going to use my competitive advantage. Frank Purdue's my brother, and he's going to sell me chickens cheaper than anybody else he sells them to, and therefore I'm going to position my company as the best in the buffalo chicken pizza market. All right? The market that you can think of, people try to occupy position. Just take toothpaste, for instance. One toothpaste promises it'll fight cavities, and they own that position. I think it's Colgate, right? Or somebody, I'm not even sure. Do you fight cavities? Then that's the position they want to take and defend. Another toothpaste might take the position in the market, we're the best at whitening your teeth. We're the best at freshening your breath. We're the best. Whatever it is, the position that different companies try to take, and these things morph over time anyway, just when you think there's no place else in the market, there's no untamed position or unfilled position, along 20 years ago or more came Tom's of Maine. His position in the marketplace was all natural ingredients, no animal byproducts in there. And so he positioned himself as all natural. Now, of course, everybody starts to compete over time. Hyper competition is a word, and things start to change. And so but when you position yourself as the best in the marketplace, people say, this is the product I want.
Of course, you gave us a simple example. You said, think of Ferrari versus Ford.
Exactly.
I mean, high quality.
Sure.
Ferrari says high quality, special features.
Yeah.
Or Ford, basic, workmanship. A car that meets all your basic needs.
I mean, you gave a good example, not in the slides, but you said Chanel, perfume.
Yeah.
I mean, their perceived value in the marketplace is such that you will pay $100 for a little bit of bottle of stuff that only cost them 29 cents or whatever it cost them, right? Because that's what you're willing to pay. If you want to buy Sam Malone of Cheers, his stinky cologne, he said that he used a combination of high karate and Old Spice and something that removes spots. Okay, that's cheap. Okay, that's real cheap and stinky, but it's not Chanel. Chanel has got a brand, it's got a position in the marketplace, still has.
So pricing by position.
Exactly. What is your
Lexus in the mind of the buyer?
Lexus holds a position in the marketplace. That's a high-end, high-quality car, but it's also a $75,000 car, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 car. And a Toyota, same company, They have a car, Toyota Corolla. It's only a 18, whatever it is, $1,000 car. It's still a high quality car. It's a good car. It's just smaller. Doesn't have all the features and the benefits, but it's still, it's priced for its position in the marketplace. College level entry cars.
There's something interesting in your presentation that we've gone over 3 basic methods.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you say, all of a sudden you say 13 pricing methods.
Yep.
There's a textbook, marketing toolkit for growing business.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
As the author catalogs, 13 nuances, different ways of looking at pricing.
Yep.
I think your position is let's not go wild.
Don't, we're
let's not go crazy.
You're not doing this for a grade, trying to memorize a bunch of stuff that some author who's very bright, has a PhD, and had to fill out a $100, $150 textbook. Let's keep it simple. Check out what the marketplace will bear, find out all of your costs, compare those things, and decide on a pricing structure for your company. That's what you need to do. And a pricing structure that's based on the fact that you have a certain amount of overhead to cover too.
That's what you said here in your presentation. Start with basics.
And those are the basics.
Premium price.
Right.
Most expensive third of the marketplace.
Yep.
The middle price.
Yep.
Middle position, or budget. Least expensive.
With the least number of bells and whistles on it, but minimum, we call it an MVP, a minimum viable product. Mm-hmm. It'll get done. Toyota Corolla, minimum viable product. It's a car, it's safe, it gets me to work or school or whatever I'm going, all the way up to the high premium price Lexus, which is $75,000 to $100,000 with a Bose stereo and tremendous safety features and 0 to 60 and less than a second and all that stuff, right. They all have a different position in the minds of the marketplace. And it's the value perception of the marketplace is what counts.
Well, now I'm going to step you into pricing mistakes.
Yep.
Pricing mistakes and
right.
how to avoid them. The very number one worst pricing mistake that you can make is, quote, we need the work.
Yeah.
Drop the prices now. We'll get more work and raise the prices later.
And it'll never happen, because once you've we talk about market penetration pricing strategy. I'm all for penetrating the marketplace, but here's the way you do it. You don't just go out and say, hey, I'll only charge you $10 for that. You'll never get 15, okay? But if I say, look, it's $15 normally, but if you buy it right now because we have a sales promotion going on, it's only $12, so why don't you give me an order? And that's a closing statement to get the sale.
Right,
that's
right.
called market penetration pricing strategy.
Right.
You don't just start off and saying, hey, I'll sell it to you for 12. One of the things that really irritates me when I go to a car dealer is I'll say, what do you want for the car? And they'll say, I want, $36,000. Okay, great. Thanks anyway. Thank you very much. I'll get back to you. Well, you got a better price? We'll match any price you get. And so I look at them and say, well, why don't you just give me the best price right now instead of making me go out and check to see that you're trying to rip me off for a few $1,000s. And I say this to a salesman. You're going to match the best price I get? Why would I come back to you? You gave me a price of $36,000 to buy this car, and I go to the other dealer and he gives it to me for $34,500. Why would I come back to you, who was trying to rip me off at $36,000, and say, if you match $34,500, I'll give it to you? Yeah. There might be a reason, I don't know, but I don't know what that reason would be. I just don't like that type of sales.
So first mistake, don't drop your drawers and figure you can pull them up later.
No, you can't pull them up later.
Lower pricing now, raising prices later. You struggle to cover your cost. You're working hard for no return. You position your company, you position in the market as a lower price.
Right. And that's the perception people say. You want it cheaper, go over there. Yeah. They're always
far better. Price it right from the beginning.
Price it right from the beginning. If you want to penetrate the market, you give somebody a special deal for a special reason, that's different. But don't just say, oh, we always... I had a picture on my wall in my office, and it was a well-dressed person in a tattered tuxedo. I mean, badly tattered. Yeah. He was obviously a hobo, right? but he used to be dressed nice, but now he's a wreck.
Yeah.
And the caption on that was, "I always had the lowest price." All right, right. That's why you're now a hobo and you're broke, and you don't always have the lowest price.
So,
unless you always had lower costs, I don't know.
So on your pricing plan, are you going to be high? Are you going to be medium? Are you going to be low?
You have to determine what the value perceived
and you said
market.
the answer is simple: choose the higher price.
Start higher. You can always come down. You can always come down to meet the market.
Position yourself as higher quality.
Yep.
Raise profitability.
Yep.
You can always discount.
Absolutely.
Isn't that your message?
Absolutely. Market penetration pricing strategy is what we call it, fancy term for it's $15. But you know what? We're having a sale. I will sell it to you for $12 if you give me an order for 100, and we'll ship in 3 months. Whatever the closing statement is. Penetrate the market with a discount, but don't just start off saying, "Oh, I always get $12 for it."
Pricing mistakes and how to avoid them. This is second worst pricing mistake. This is acting like a weasel. You say, "Okay, if I lower my price, will you buy?"
It's exactly the same thing as I said to you about the car dealer.
Yeah.
What do you want for the car? I want to write your check. Give me your best price. $36,000. Okay. Yeah. Oh, if I make it 35, will you buy it now? Why didn't you give me the 35 to start with? All right, just tell me this is the price you want for the car. Okay, 35,000. In other words, if I balk, then you're willing to lower the price. That's almost as bad as, hey, if you get a better price from somebody else, we'll match it.
Yeah.
Why don't you just match it right now, okay? And why would I come back to you? Somebody else is being better to me right out of the chute, and I'm going to come back and say to you, well, here, if you match his price, no, doesn't work that way. And I leave and I never go back.
If you offer to drop the price, you're communicating, you are communicating that your stated price is inflated.
Exactly.
You just said that.
You just told them.
I didn't say that.
I was trying to rip you off is what the guy's saying, I mean, I can do it for less, but if I don't have to, if you don't back me into a corner and pin my ears to the wall, I'm not going to give you the best price I can give you. I'm going to try and rip you off. Sorry.
Because you've encouraged the buyer to keep pressing for a lower price.
Exactly.
You said.
Yep.
You already said and looking for a lower price, and your credibility crumbles. You got clay feet.
You have clay feet. Yeah, your credibility goes right down the tubes. And I don't want to do business with people like that.
So, couple lower price with lower service. couple lower price, lowering the price with lower service.
Yeah, I can't give you the.
This is tricky though. You said better to couple the price discounts with equal reduction in service, show flexibility in meeting the buyer need, and maintain your integrity.
Your integrity is critical, absolutely.
What did you mean lower the service? That sounds terrible.
Well, no, I mean, you know what? We give you a 100,000-mile warranty. We give you free oil change for the next 2 years, and we want $60,000 for the car. Yeah. Well, you know what? I can get it for $55 at the other dealer. Yeah, but he doesn't give you the 100,000-mile warranty. It's only $24,000. I'm making all this up. $24,000. No. They charge you for the oil change. They charge you for the basic service. So you wind up paying, yes, a little bit less for the car there, but then you got to pay for these things. We're covering it. But if that's the way you'd prefer to buy it, that's fine. We'll sell it to you for that price. But we're not going to give you the warranty. We're not going to give you the free oil change. We can't afford to do that. Right. So if that's okay with you, sure.
But you kept the price up.
Yeah, but you kept the price up for all the other good things. You started there, upselling.
Right.
But somebody said, okay, I can get it, for somebody else. Well, it's not apples to apples, and here's why. And we can do that if that's what you'd prefer.
And you say now, you need to commit your pricing strategy on paper.
Yes.
Like write it down.
Yep.
Not this from off the top of the head or the seat of the you-know-what.
Seat of the pants, right.
You write down your policy, commit to a plan of attack.
Yep.
And preview the plan next year or next 6 months or next year or whatever.
It depends on the product. Certainly a commodity item, you're looking at that pricing structure almost every day. I mean, like I say, I was selling insulated copper wire, bare copper wire, And copper, it was fluctuating like crazy at one point, and I had to keep tabs literally every day on what the copper market is doing. And what the aluminum wasn't as bad, but copper was fluctuating like crazy. And sometimes we couldn't get it from one manufacturer, had to go to a different manufacturer and pay more money to get it, but I had to have it in stock for my industrial customers. A piece of wire called THHN was critically important to keeping their factories running. And if I couldn't get it from one company at $50 a thousand, I had to pay $60 a thousand for somebody else to have it, then I had to have it. And so I got it in stock, but I also didn't want to charge based on the $50, I had to charge based on the 60.
Right.
And I had to monitor those prices every day, not just occasionally.
Right. Your written pricing strategy,
Yep.
You got a plan. Go with the premium price.
Absolutely. Start off
your
with
best advice.
Yeah, and give the best service and the best quality and the best everything.
Top third of the market.
Yep.
Position as higher quality than your competitor. Justify additional services.
Absolutely.
And obtain a good profit margin, but leave room for discount.
Yeah. Right. If the customer doesn't value what you're adding in there, then fine. Then negotiate. That's part of the negotiation to close the sale.
Okay, folks. So keep that price up.
You bet.
Stiffen your backbone.
There you go.
Get real. Know
Yep.
your cost.
Right.
And go for the premium.
Go for the gold.
Go for the gold. Thank you, Coach, and thank you, guys. This is episode 2 of two episodes on pricing. All of our episodes are uploaded to YouTube for convenience. Simply go to YouTube. At the search box at the top, type in one single word, Fox Robbins, FOXROBBINS, and click, and voila, there's a library. Pick an episode that
Yep.
you'd like to see and of current interest. And
Pick
go
one
for
when my hair wasn't as gray.
it. And thank you, guys, and we will see you guys next time.